2022, so this is quite the achievement. I'm going to have Mr. Nigro and some members of his team come to the next board meeting because they're doing the Hollenbrook school highlight. So I figured next week we'll do an official honoring of the Hollenbrook team that put this together. But I know you'll probably hear about it in the Green Committee meeting minutes tonight. So I wanted to let you know that this is an awesome achievement. So congratulations to Hollenbrook School and all of their hard work. With that said, Mrs. Higgins, I'll turn it over to you to give us your Three Bridges School highlights.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to share with you basically I'm doing a little like a montage of cool things that we do at Three Bridges School. And I entitled it Three Bridges School is a vibrant learning community, because we're always up to something. And I thought I would just share, and honestly, the list that I have, I could just keep going on and on and on, but I won't. But I absolutely could. Oh, sorry. We could title it, The Principal Doesn't Know How to Hold the Clicker. Okay. So as you know, that our district initiative this year is bringing in SEL, which of course we have done much with that over the years with morning meeting, responsive classroom, a lot of character ed programs run through our guidance counselor's office and with the teachers. But this year we're adding some more things. And something that we've added is a monthly character education assembly that's hosted by 2 classes within each grade level. So we have a character word of the month and 2 classes put on a performance for everybody, teaching us how we can show that character trait within our daily lives at Three Bridges School. So our very first one was actually held by 1 class, because 3rd grade has 5 sections. And this is Mrs. Darenheim's class, started us off with September with Respect. Something that we have had, I've been at Three Bridges, oh goodness, about 13 years. When I arrived, we already had a school pledge. And we had a school song that we have held on to, and we have revisited it, and we've decided we still really like it. So instead of me reading it to you, I'm going to let the kids say it for you. So that is the pledge that we start every morning with. We do that along with the Pledge of Allegiance. And for our monthly assemblies, we all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance and our school pledge in unison. And I've never heard it before this year with the entire school saying it. It's actually, I just get the chills just, having listened to that again. It's really very neat. Something else that we do every year, we do Jump Rope for Heart. And if you look down at the second bullet, we have raised over the last 10 years or 18 years, $109,000 for Jump Rope for Heart, which is definitely amazing. And also we have a student, Johanna Beam. She is now up at the high school. She is a competitive jump roper. And the stunts she can do, so she comes each year to kick off our assembly to do the kickoff for Jump Rope for Heart, where they have the lady from the American Heart Association come, talk about heart health, and then we do the fundraiser. We also had this year, the very first time, a Black History Month celebration that was held on a Saturday in conjunction with the Hunterdon County Anti-Racism Coalition. And Ibi Ikotenem, she brought African artifacts and she taught the children to do Nigerian dances in costume, and they performed during that event. We had 50 people show up for a Saturday event on a Saturday that it snowed. That first weekend in March, it snowed. And the show went on, and we had 50 people attend, and we're hoping to host it again next year and have even more people come. The people who were there sent very positive comments back and thanked us for, providing this opportunity for everybody. So those are our dancers, and their moms came up too. It was very cool. Something else that we do, we have been partnering with Ocean Township probably for the past 10 years. They come for a full day, and they teach our students how to do double Dutch. Now, Ocean Township is from a very different part of the state, a very different demographic area, and they work with our kids all day long. And, we start with the single rope, and then they do, some of the kids are ready for the double rope. They do a great show for us. And it's an electric day at the school. We do many, many service projects at Three Bridges School. Halloween candy drive, where we send Halloween candy to the troops. We use Dr. Lowe, mails it out for us to the troops. That's a big expense he picks up. We also do a pajama drive, Super Bowl, Valentine's Day cards, Fox and Socks. We collect items for the different scout groups. So we've been taking our monthly philanthropies from the scouts. So, because they'll say, hey, can we put in something to get first aid, supplies? We're like, why are we doing one and then the scouts doing one? We should just work together. So we've been giving them so many things. We just did goodie bags for veterans through Ben Van Zanten and one of my students. And this year, because we put the efforts together, it was overflowing. They had to get several cars to bring all this stuff out there. So I think that was a really smart thing to do this year. Read Across America, of course, in a primary school. Read Across America is a very exciting time. They do a full week full of activities. And if you notice on the left, Dr. Hart was there being a very secret, sneaky reader. Dance integration. So, dance is part of the curriculum, if you all know that. And how do you integrate dance in a way that the kids are going to really want to dance with us? So we actually had a local dance instructor volunteer to come in and do some group dances with us. And we learned how to floss, and I would demonstrate for you, but maybe not a great idea. Also, the HSA Fine and Performing Arts has been connecting with us quite a bit in the last 2 years, and we're really very appreciative of all their work. And we brought in a musician, Andy Wasserman, who did whole school assemblies. He also did workshops for the third grade classes using the drums. It was absolutely amazing. And kids who, some of them are a little more reluctant learners, they were just in their glory and having a great time. You really could see the effects of music education making a very positive impact on our kids. So that led to poet B.J. Ward coming in. Now, B.J. Ward was recommended to us by Andy Wasserman. I was like, you're so awesome. If you like B.J. Ward, I'm going to like B.J. Ward. So he came in to do poetry with our students. And first grade and second grade did whole grade level assemblies, and they created grade level poems. But third grade got 5 sessions with him to create very deep poems. So I'm having Aiden Gutierrez read his poem.
The Metaphor Poem of Me by Aiden Gutierrez. I'm the yellow fish in the blue school. I am the trend that everybody follows all the time. I am the cheetah that runs in the horizon. I am the egg that will never crack. I am the branch that hung out in the storm. I am the sun that shines all the time. I am the clock that is 5 minutes off. I am the squirrel that flies from tree to tree. I am the Pokemon no one wants to catch.
And you know what? Those really are all the things that Aiden is. We, of course, have a science fair every year, and we do have a push to do green items within there, something that we always get points for Sustainable Jersey for, but it's also something that the kids are really able to connect with because of the green theme throughout the school that just kind of lives there. This is something new this year that we're really excited about. The furry one there is Sam. Sam is a therapy dog he's a very busy schedule. He's been working with 4 of our special ed classrooms. And his handler comes with him. And he's certified. He has papers and everything saying he's a therapy dog. And Mr. Bohm approved our therapy dog. He's like, me? I said, can we bring a dog to school? He's like, sure. Anyway, these children who wouldn't read, these are kids who are struggling learners, very excited to. Wouldn't read aloud. Well, now they're started with a whisper reading to the dog, and now they're reading more to them. They sit there, they pet, and they read aloud the entire time. And the growth that we've seen in those kids with their reading and their enjoyment of school. We actually had a day where a preschooler was just having a bad day. And the room is split with a preschool speech on the other end of it. And then we brought the preschoolers to interact with the dog. And the preschooler was petting the dog and calmed down and then went and had the best speech session he's ever had. So there definitely is a benefit to having therapy dogs in the school. So we actually have another couple of people who have therapy dogs were like, we heard Three Bridges is really, into this. We'd love to come too. So if we can expand this program, we'd, love to. Yes.
How many times do they come in?
He comes in twice a week, and he's been working with 4 classes. And so he's able to stay for like an hour to 45 minutes in each room. He was very happy, very nice, good, very good dog. We also celebrate each month Autism Awareness, and we do a whole week of autism awareness. And we do have older children who have autism do presentations on what autism is and what it kind of means for them. It helps to also teach the kids about how people are different and accepting each other's differences. And then we end the week where everybody blows bubbles. Now, last year, which we didn't have it yet, it's in April, they made the ribbon shape. This year, we're going to put together a puzzle. But the really neat thing is Chief Dennis Concannon, he brings his big bucket truck, the fire truck, and we go up in the truck and we take a picture from above. So the kids love the truck piece. Makes for a really neat situation. And, it's a really wonderful time. And we do have our gen ed population works with our autistic preschoolers to, first off, to give the preschoolers a great experience, but it also gives our gen ed population an understanding of other people. First grade career talks. Parents come in all the time in first grade and they talk about their different careers. And we have all kinds of careers, as you can imagine, that people come and share about. And even things you'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound that'd be interesting. The kids are absolutely engaged, proud. The parents are proud. They really do an outstanding job. Third grade helpers. I talked about this a little bit with the autism, but our third graders are leaders at Three Bridges School. And we ask them to help us with our little ones. They go down to the preschool and volunteer. They go to kindergarten specials and volunteer to assist. They go to the younger grades lunches and assist. So it's not the same child all the time, but if we have 80 third graders, we're able to rotate who gets an opportunity to be a leader. And this is new. This is something that we put in February. It's a preschool path, and it's a movement activity for the preschoolers.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, you touch your shoulders. Good girl. Keep going.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q.
Spin around.
The directions are on the floor, what they need to do.
R, F, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. What is that?
Touch your toes. Good girl.
So the preschoolers are enjoying that, as is the staff. Thank you. Preschool also does a transportation parade every year. And this is just something that just keeps happening. We seem to have the police in our building whenever we have the transportation parade. So we always there's always a police car in the transportation parade. So we get a picture of the police car with the police officer. It works out. It's wonderful. Also, our staff does a lot to build morale within each other. As the adults, that we know that we need to keep each other happy, positive. Our work environment is dependent on our behavior and our attitude and how we treat each other. So we do try to do some special events, and this is just one example that we did a Valentine's Day cookie swap. The first grade team hosted it, and during their prep time, they brought cookies around that people made and let people choose different cookies that they wanted to eat. And it really added a fun element to the day. And people talked about it going up to it, after it, and they love seeing Mr. Wright dressed up, ready to serve. This is something new. The HSA paid for indoor herb gardens for us. You know that we're really big into the green thing, and we have gardens. We're having a really tough time growing food in our school garden because of the timing of the year, and the critters that like to eat my produce. So we're trying to do a little bit more indoor gardening. And so we have these indoor herb gardens. We also put in a grant for vertical gardens through Sustainable Jersey, and hopefully we can grow some tomatoes and some larger produce for the kids to see. We grow radishes and carrots. They're not that excited about that. Kindergarten plays every year. All the kindergarten classes do a play for their parents. We do George Washington patriotic plays, a Rainbow Fish, really fun. And each year, the Rotary brings in dictionaries for the third grade. And that is Dave Livingston there presenting about the dictionaries. You would think what you gave these kids. They hug them, they love them, they're reading them, and they're talking and showing and pointing. It's really how we want kids to interact with books, and they're doing it with a dictionary, which is absolutely phenomenal. And they get to bring that book home with them, the dictionary. We also have a partnership with Hunterdon Medical Center. They have been coming in and doing some health programs for us for a few years. They do Tar Wars, which is about smoking for grades 2 and 3. We have a nutritionist come in and do an assembly for grades 2 and 3. And we do Sun Sensibles with grade 1, which is the importance of using sunblock and covering your body when you're outside during the sun hours. And then the first grades go and educate the other grade levels. And that is the it. I mean, honestly, I could just keep going on and on about like cool things that we do all day. But I just thought I would just kind of like hit some fun highlights about like, here's some fun things that we do because it's a vibrant community and we keep looking to add new things that excite the kids, excite the staff. You know, the staff, a lot of them have been there for a long time and nobody wants to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So we're always looking for something new and exciting and something that will engage everybody. So anyway, so it's fun at Three Bridges School.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mrs. Higgins before we move on? Thank you so much for coming out and sharing all about Three Bridges School with us. We really appreciate it. Continuing on in the superintendent's report, we have a brief presentation to follow up on the budget. Thanks, man. So I wanted to share with the board this evening a few slides as a follow-up to our last board meeting where we began discussions about and approved our tentative budget. So these few slides are really in a response to some of the questions and comments that we got from the public and for all of us, the public and you as a board, to understand the budget development process. So I'll start with what makes up our budget, the composition of the general fund. In the slide, you'll see that, or the purpose of the slide is to show you really what makes up the entire school budget. So you've got the largest blue portion, 63%, is salaries, and then an additional 19% is benefits. So when it comes to hiring personnel, we're talking about salaries and benefits together, making up approximately 82% of our entire budget. And these are some of those fixed costs that are negotiated in the bargaining agreements. Then the rainbow colors from then on, the 2s and 3% are things like out-of-district tuition, transportation services, utilities, maintenance, the night custodial contract and equipment, other things that when you really think about it, these are things that are really fixed, right? You have to pay your utility bills, you have to have buses, you have to have fuel for those buses, those sorts of things. The important part here is that 6% that's in light gray. These are the things that we talk about being supplies, paper, pencils, those sorts of things that we always look to when it comes to making tough choices about a budget. We look to those areas to see if we can find some money or even potentially make some cuts. But you'll notice that it's such a small portion of our budget, you really don't get a whole lot of money from those areas. A lot of it is really in the 63 and the 19% of salary and benefits. So one of the questions we received was enrollment compared to our teaching staff. You'll see that our enrollment has gone down. Similarly, in the past 9 years or so, our teaching staff, and this is certificated teaching staff, this includes teachers, this includes counselors, this includes special education, this includes our behaviorists, anyone who holds a certificate here in the district. These are all of our certificated teaching staff. So you'll see our enrollment went from approximately 1945 and 1112 to what we're estimating to be 1460 for next year. Our teaching staff went from 206 to 193. So we've lost approximately 13 teaching staff members. So with enrollment decreasing, there has been a response from the Board of Education and the administration and recognition, we don't need as many teaching staff members, So there have been decreases in both over the course of the past several years. I thought this slide was really interesting. Jason and I were talking about it. These lines represent, the top line represents the cumulative cost over the same time period, these same 9 years, the cumulative cost of health benefits over the past 9 years. So as each year as health benefits increase, this is how much health benefits has increased total for us in our budget over the past 9 years. The purple line and the blue line are the RTAA and RTEA salary increases through the negotiated bargaining agreements. And then the tax levy line is the green line you see at the bottom, which is the line that kind of looks like a smiley face, sort of. It starts in one spot, goes down a little bit below those lines into the negatives because there were places where we did cut the budgets or cut the tax levy, and then has recently come back up. What's important about this slide, if you take a look, we recognize, I think, just in the world, right? Things increase, right? Healthcare costs are increasing, salaries are increasing. In order for us as a school district to sustain ourselves and move forward, we have to keep up with some of these rising costs. I mean, health benefits is very, very difficult to keep up with, even with our healthcare contributions. The RTAA and RTEA salaries, look, if you see, we're having trouble keeping up with those now because of the dip that our tax levy took for several years, which was really fiscally responsible. I understand why, but now we're getting to a place where there's a widening gap between the expenses that we have to pay and the tax levy that we've been increasing. And if you think back to this slide, salaries and benefits are the majority of our budget. So in thinking about this, we've got 82% of our budget that's going up approximately 5-6% every year, and a tax levy that's capped really about 2% every year. This year we have some banked caps, so we're going up to 2.28%. So it's really difficult to keep up with those rising costs that are going up 5% a year approximately, when we can raise the tax levy, approximately 2% each year. Lastly, for our school debt, our outstanding school debt in the same time period, these few slides look over the same time period, was about 25 million back in 2011, 2012. For the 1920 school year, we're looking at a total school debt of 12 million. So over the past 9 years, that's been cut in half, which is great. Additionally, our local school debt shall be fully paid off by January of 2027. And you can see we put some numbers that we took from the Reddington Township website. You can see where there's different types of debt. There's local school debt, there's our regional high school debt, and then there's municipal debt. So we are a piece of that puzzle too. But if you look, we've been really responsible with our debt overall. Our refinancing has got us down to 12 million in debt and being paid off in 2027. I'd love to have my mortgage paid off in 2027. That's kind of what that's like. So this is just an update for the board. Are there any questions on any of the slides? Yeah, Jared.
I just had a comment on my way.
No, I'm good. Do you want me to go back to anything in particular?
I mean, this is great stuff. I think this is really informative for people's perspective of what's happened over time. Another piece I think might be helpful to the public also would be, you talk about salaries and the teachers' expenses, really between their added benefit costs, what true increases in their salaries are. Because I think you may find that there's a negative, increases in their salaries over time.
I think I think you're probably right. The teachers in the room will probably tell you, with health benefit costs increasing at a certain rate every year and their salary increasing at a certain rate, generally, the health benefit increases outpace the salary increases, and that makes the contribution sometimes usually larger for individual
Right,
employees.
especially because that started in 2011.
Right.
Because I think some people might misinterpret what's happening in the budget as if there's the teachers and the expenses. I don't want to create like us versus them, but that might give that perception that all our money is going to them. So,
Well, if you look, there's a large portion that's
well, I
salaries.
understand that.
Yeah.
It's a large portion of the budget. Every company's budget, salaries are the biggest part, salaries and benefits.
Yeah.
It's not it's normal. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but any company, whatever it is, Exxon or whatever, their biggest expense is probably salaries. I'd be even willing to, maybe possibly work on it because I think it would give perspective. Because, it shows like the salaries are going up,
Mhm.
but the teachers' expenses on their benefits are offsetting that and then some, since that 2011 time.
Yeah.
I just think it's the interesting chart for perspective, because when people look at that, they're gonna say, oh my goodness, we're paying all this money to teachers as if it's.
Yeah, it's a good perspective for this though. Put on the perspective of how can we as a board manage our finances in a way that keeps pace with those increases. Not just for the individual teacher, but rather the overall that we have a responsibility.
You're basically presenting the point that these expenses are there. There's not really, like you said, there's not really much to cut when all these things are at such small percentages when, 82% is those two items.
And-
Follow-up question.
Yeah, sure.
Has there been, or can you bring us into understanding the non-teaching staff and how that's either grown or shrunk over time across the district?
Yeah, so the non-teaching staff would be our support staff, like secretarial staff, as well as our paraprofessionals or our aides. I would say with confidence that our instructional aides or our paraprofessionals have likely increased over the course of the past several years. I think that's an accurate statement. And those decisions are really driven by the child study team and IEP needs. We do have, per building, we do have 2 aides in kindergarten classrooms. Our secretarial staff, if I recall correctly, I believe that there was several cuts over the past couple of years in not only the board office staff, but also in guidance secretary or someone over at the middle school. So there have been cuts there too that have not yet been replaced. So a little bit of both, some decreases and some increases. Hard numbers I can get you though, if you need them. Okay.
Thank you. General overview is just helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Thank you very much for putting that together.
You're welcome.
To provide those answers.
No problem. If anybody has any questions, let me know. The last thing on my superintendent's report is April 9th is going to be the next superintendent coffee chat. I have plans for this topic to be about building resilience in our youth. And I've invited some professionals from the Hunterdon Behavioral Health to talk about student and youth resiliency and how it relates to mental health too. So I hope, and Doreen will be sending out, or my office will be sending out a invitation with RSVP soon. So that's April 9th, 9 a.m. I hope you can make it. That's everything.
Thank you. We are now open to the public, limited to action items on the agenda. Not hearing any. We had 2 correspondents since our last meeting, both of them invitations. Moving into administrative reports, can I get a motion to adopt 1.01, please? Are there any questions on the administrative reports? Report. Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please?
Tara Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Rob McCallum,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes. The minutes, can I get a motion to adopt 2.01 to 2.02?
So moved.
Excuse me. Are there any questions or changes, recommended changes on the minutes? Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please?
Jared Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Rob McCallum,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Finance and facilities, can I get a motion to adopt 3.01 to 3.06?
Second.
We had a report last time, right? Are there any questions on the items on the agenda? Just a reminder, the shared service agreement is listed for Branchburg. Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please?
Jared Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes,
Passes.
we have education technology. Can I get a motion to adopt 4.01 to 4.05?
So moved.
Second.
And we did not have a report. Are there any questions on the agenda items? You should note that the Future Ready is on there.
First meeting next week.
Okay, if there aren't any questions, roll call, please.
Jared Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes. Personnel. Excuse me. Can I get a motion to adopt 5.01 to 5.06?
So moved.
Second.
And we have a committee report. That's what it says.
It was this year. It was today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is everybody
Does anybody want to do it?
I'll read it. It's fine. Let me find it. Just bear with me one second. I have it.
Oh, it's right here.
The committee met yesterday morning. What was that, the 25th?
Fastest minute.
We discussed enrollment numbers and were updated on projected numbers. Some job description revisions were looked at and reviewed. Holiday schedule for maintenance and secretaries were looked at, and they're actually up for approval. All of the holiday calendars. Dr. Hart starting to gather data and proposals for the strategic plan. We discussed some staffing and personnel issues and the PowerPoint for the budget that we just reviewed. Our next meeting's April 17th at 8:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on the minutes or the agenda items? Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please?
Jared Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Communications, can I get a motion to adopt 6.01?
Second.
Are there any questions on the policies for second read? Not hearing any again. Can I get a roll call, please?
Jared Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Moving into unfinished business. Does anybody have anything? I did want to remind everybody that the SEL Parent Academy is going to be on April 15th at 5:30 at Hollenbrook. It's 5:30 to 8 p.m.
Announcement was sent out today.
I saw that. That's why it's written here. Does anybody have anything else for unfinished? Moving into new business from the board, we have green minutes.
We had a meeting on Tuesday, March the 19th, 3:30. Several things on the agenda. Energy conservation program and solar update was provided by Jody Fetterman. We've had our solar panels now for a year. And the displays are up and running. There were no new bills due to a changeover in company. Trends are looking good in what we expected. Production numbers are very close to what the guaranteed performance predictions were. We discussed Hollenbrook School and their New Jersey Green Ribbon Award, which we did already. Some grants that were applied for. $2,000 grant awarded for a garden project at RMS. That's what I wrote. April 19th installation for Gardner Power Motor Grant Project at Hollenbrook. First, PSE&G grant submitted for 3 bridges in White House for a gardening project, as well as vertical gardening and sensory garden improvement. committee goals that we revisited, Trout in the Schools program. We had somebody come visit us from the program, but we've decided to table it for this coming year. AmeriCorps Watershed Ambassador was visiting from the Raritan Headwaters, introduced the types of projects, initiatives he's been involved with, looking at stream health and possible rain barrel projects for us. And just offered services for any teachers that were interested. Earth Day this year is being taken on by schools individually. National Wildlife Federation Schoolyard Habitat. That's the habitat behind Hollenbrook School, and sort of our plans going forward for it. Definite funding and labor needed. Though Key Club at RMS has volunteered as part of their service project to take that on. We're also talking about a planting day on May 15th, right around the time of solar dedication from last year. The middle school detention basin retrofit spring ceremony. We have a temporary sign that's been given to the district, but the permanent sign is still being developed. The new idling regulation was discussed, and our next meeting will be Monday, April 29th at 3:30.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the green minutes? Anything? Sounds like some great things happening. That's awesome. All right. Any other new business from the board? Okay, moving into open to the public. Anything on or off the agenda? Everybody's shaking their head now. Okay. We're going to go into executive session then. I need a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law to discuss a legal matter for approximately 30 minutes, at which time the board expects to return to public session where no action will be taken. The matters discussed will be made public if and when the circumstances requiring confidentiality no longer exist. However, it is not presently known when such circumstances will exist. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
And can I get a roll call?
Chad Beatrice,
Yes.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Rob McHale,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes. 7:39. Thank you all for coming.